Hi everyone. Today I would be giving you some information on metadata. This is something that's really close to my heart because it was really interesting when I started exploring what is metadata and how metadata has so much of advantages and uses. So I thought of sharing this, and we come across metadata practically wherever we go now, given the recent times we come across this term metadata. So I thought I'll share what I researched on metadata. I will share it with you in this video. It's a little bit of information, but I hope it's useful. So let's get into it. So unlike um, other videos where I give the definition and I give examples, in this video I'm going to give you examples and then I'm going to explain the definition of metadata. So before we start, just take this conversation, okay? There's this a guy named Bob. He asked his friend Kate on how do I find the book you were speaking about. So Kate had been referring to him about a book, and then now he comes up to Kate and asks, "What is the book?" So Kate says, "Well, can I tell you the story so you can find the book?" "Oh no, Kate, that's too hard and time consuming." So as we all know, explaining the entire story and knowing the story and trying to search for a book, it's practically impossible because you have to go through then every book, find the data, and see whether it's the exact book. So how does Kate actually help Bob to find the book? So any guesses? So if you see, Kate gives Bob the set of information. So what's the information? It's information about the book apart from the story that's written in the book. So it's the publication, the genre, the published date, pages, author, the library it exists in, which aisle, the shelf, the rack, the book ID, and even the book name. So this information was given by Kate to Bob. And this information is nothing but metadata. So metadata comes to the rescue when you have data and you have to describe more about that data or that object. So that's what metadata does. So I'll give you another example. Look at this conversation also. "Hey John, I'm looking for Jade." "Well, there are 10 people with the name Jade. Who are you looking for?" So there are 10 people there. Now, which Jade is that? "Well, he's from New York." Then this guy says, "I believe 3 employees are from New York too. Can you give me some information?" Then he says he is the lead of the sales department for sure. "Yup, I got you. Jade Wilson is the guy you are looking for. So go to B block building, third floor, and you will find him." So from this conversation, can you identify or observe something? Any guesses? So from this conversation, you can identify there are two entities over here, Jade and the building. And the extra information that was being provided for a particular entity was nothing but the metadata. So if you see, Jade has metadata as New York, sales, then you have the building, it has B block, third floor. These are also some attributes. So taking all this, I guess you would have come to know by now what is metadata. So you would have seen different resources showing metadata. So this is nothing but a representation of metadata. So you have an entity, okay? Jade is a person, entity type, and building is nothing but an entity again of a thing type, okay? So you have this entity, and the entity has a lot of attributes. So if you see, Jade has the attribute of location New York, then he's a lead, 27 years old, he belongs to XYZ company, sales department. Then you look at the building, it's in the B block, it's on the third floor. All this is nothing but your descriptions or additional information about a entity. So now let us go into the definition of metadata. So traditionally, we would have all in our schoolings and university, we would have known this particular definition. It's data about data. But how I look at it is, in other words, it's all possible information about an entity. And so if you see in this examples that I showed you here, you're having an entity, and that entity has a name, and there are a lot of other extra attributes for that particular entity, attributes such which is nothing but information, nothing but data. So it's exactly all 360-degree, or any information about an entity can be given as metadata. So if you're wondering what is this entity, what does this mean? A quick tip, this is how I remember entity and how I actually understood what an entity is. So an entity, it's the name of a person or an animal or an insect or a particular place, or it can be an object. So remember, we would have in our childhood days, we would have played the game name place animal thing. So anything that has attributes can be defined or can be called as an entity. For example, now if you take a person, like we seen in this example here, Jade has attributes, so Jade is an entity. A building has attributes, it has the floor, number of floors, it has, the location where the building is located in, what is the height of the building. So all these are attributes, so definitely a building is also an entity. Similarly, when you look at any real world object, it's literally an entity. When you look around your room, you have the fan, you have a chair, you have your laptop, you have your mobile, you have a bag, you have a book. Everything is nothing but an entity, because when you look at that object, when you look at that thing, you have your, even your relatives, you have your friends around you, they are all entities because they have information around them, and that's nothing but entity with metadata. So a clue is, another clue is, something that doesn't have attributes cannot be defined as an entity. Okay, so for example, if I tell you the color black, just black, I cannot give any extra information about black, so it cannot be defined as an entity. So that's another clue to keep in mind. So I hope you at least got an idea of what is metadata and what are the examples of metadata. And there are a lot of uses of metadata, but actually there are three really good use cases, not use cases, three good benefits and advantages and uses of using metadata, which I would be giving and explaining to you in another video. And there are also different types of metadata, which we would look in another video also. So stay tuned for those videos. And if you found this video informative to you, please do give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe to this channel, and also do share your feedbacks. Thank you.